Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Andrew Moran, Sarah Cowgill, Jeff Charles, and James Fight. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. On today's episode, Scam Wham, Thank You Ma'am. The counterfeit vaccine card scam. Have you seen the latest in counterfeiting? Disappearing health freedoms. Time to resist. One U.S. senator is advising people to buck the system. Power to the people. Fear of bad reviews. Is badgering and bribing the consumer really the best way to do business? And we'll play around in our kicker segment called Political Worst Case Scenarios. Let's face it, girls just want to have fun. And exclusively for our Member Zone subscribers, Democratic Diet, no meat and slim pickings. All this and more on this episode of The Conservative Five. From the nation's inception, Americans have proven themselves a fiercely independent lot. Just ask the British. From the Boston Tea Party to boozing it up during Prohibition, Americans have always risen to the challenge of circumventing laws they deem outrageous. The adage, where there's a will, there's a way, captures this finely honed Yankee spirit. So it really comes as no surprise that U.S. citizens are finding their way to the vaccination card underground, despite the leftist media narrative that it's a piece of cake to pick up a fake vax. A search by Liberty Nation found it's really not so easy. Perhaps the counterfeit business has gone clandestine due to a push by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies to frighten people. Jim, there are several problems here, and all of them involve freedom. What say you?
What say I? Well, you may have come to a biased person on that one. I came up in the woods of the rural South in a family that bootlegged during Prohibition. So,
oh, you're going to say that on national television? Okay.
Well, they're all dead.
Sure,
now,
my
so
family sold it.
Yeah, this is definitely a freedom issue. It reminds me, this whole vaccine pass thing reminds me of the Soviet jokes, your papers, comrade. What's not funny is that we're getting to that point. I don't know. Maybe I missed the boat on getting a fake vaccine card. They sure don't seem to be easy to find, but it looks like they'd be pretty easy to make.
Well, that's the problem. You brought up an interesting point, Andrew. I've noticed that. Well, if you look at anything that's government issued, they've got holograms, they've got all manner of stuff. But now they've issued millions upon millions of these vaccine cards. They're just like 3x5 cards. I was going to get mine out and show you guys. It just looks like a regular 3x5.
Yeah, perhaps it's a conspiratorial side of me, but I think that they're going to use this as an excuse to just adopt a full digital system to make it easier to track you. Up here in the province of Quebec, they adopted a digital system for a QR code. You just scan your phone and they'll determine if you've been vaccinated or not. They have similar programs. I think it's in Saskatchewan right now going on. So, this is the start of this whole digital system. It's something out of Beijing. It's terrifying. And then, of course, there was a case recently up here. A couple of Americans tried to come in Toronto with fake vaccination documents, and the authorities immediately spotted it, and they were fined $16,000. So hey, it shows that at least Canada is it's a place where people are willing to counterfeit government documents to come visit us up here.
Let me ask you, were they coming from America?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Up here, yeah, they require your vaccination papers.
All right, Sarah, papers, please.
American ingenuity. I think that we will get to a point where there will be some sort of scanning of a barcode or this or that and the other thing, but really, were they going to make a stand in line to get into a restaurant, make a stand in line to get cross the border into Texas or California or wherever we're going? I mean, I don't know how it's kind of an unwieldy process, I think.
Well, I mean, Jeff, why not? They make a stand in line to board an aircraft. I don't think they care how long we stand in line.
Well, yeah, I mean, the last thing they care about is, the American people. So they don't care about our level of comfort or our convenience. But I'm going to continue in the same vein. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat too. I think that the reason that they're pushing this narrative that these things are so easy to fake is because when they do enact these local mandates, and it still doesn't work, it still doesn't stop the spread of COVID-19, they're going to say, oh, it's because all these people were lying the whole time and they were using fake vaccination papers. That's my tinfoil hat theory. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
But then what do? Follow on from that. Then they put us all in Andrew's computer, like you were saying, Andrew.
I think that could very easily be used as an excuse to get our information in a computer. I mean, if China's doing it to us, why can't our government?
Well, it's interesting because when I wrote this story, there NPR, New York Times, there were loads and loads of stories. Go on Etsy, go on Amazon, you can easily get the only thing I saw were vaccine card holders.
I would say that these people, these entrepreneurs are coming up with these things. I think they're quite heroic. It's like Jim's family, the bootleggers back in the 1920s. They were doing a good public service by selling hooch, and now these days, they're fighting against the government by offering these papers. All you need is a James Cagney or a Humphrey Bogart to run these things, and you're back in business.
Well, like any good internet scammer, they're going to have to move sites. They can't just stay up. So they're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. So that there's no trail to follow. I mean, if there will be a digital trail, but on the other hand of it, it's going to be unwieldy. It's going to be all over the place. And nobody in their right mind is going to stay on Etsy if New York Times has said, hey, you can get one on Etsy. They're going to bop off. They're going to go somewhere else and reappear.
Well, I think it's also worth noting that these vaccine mandates are not popular. Like, even a majority of Democrats don't want these mandates. They think that taking the vax should be a matter of personal choice. So I'm wondering how far they're even going to get with this. I'm not sure that the nation is quite ready for this yet, because the majority of Americans don't want these mandates to happen in the first place.
But I've seen different surveys suggesting the opposite. I've seen surveys where it shows that a majority of Americans want either a vaccine passport or a vaccine mandate. And I know up here, all these businesses in Toronto, they're demanding that the government impose some sort of vaccine passport because they know that they personally can't, of all the chaos that would ensue. But I've seen opposite data, Jeff.
Yeah, the most recent that I saw was from a couple of weeks ago. It was a Harvard Harris poll, and it found that about 61% of Democrats didn't want this to happen, and I think 80% of Republicans, and in overall, the majority believe that taking the vax should be a matter of personal choice. So it might just depend on what study you're looking at. But as far as I know, the most recent one that I've seen suggests differently.
Yeah, I saw the last three ones. One was today, and it showed that 81% of Americans supported vaccine passports.
Well, it's changing every day. I mean, Jim, I just want to know if we have to show a vax card at the airport, why not an ID card at the voting booth? Just saying.
Good question.
See, that's a racist question.
Jeff, have I just
Honestly, most people support voter ID. The Democrats lost that argument a long time ago, which, if you notice, when they're talking about these voting laws and how this is Jim Crow 2.0, they're mentioning voter ID, but they're really just trying to focus on the overall narrative of the law. They're not pushing the voter ID as hard as they used to, because they know that people don't believe that anymore.
Not a winning story anymore.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a winning argument. They lost it. Over 70% of Black people think that voter ID should be required. So they didn't do a very good job. So that's why when they talk about these voting laws disproportionately affecting the Black community, you notice how they never go into detail. They never give data. They never actually explain their point. They just say Jim Crow 2.0 and expect people to believe it.
But
that's
on the
not
subject,
gonna work either.
On the subject of media narrative, the latest one is that they're trying to portray this story as pro-vaccination versus anti-vaccination. They're trying to say that the people who oppose vaccination, they're the ones who are against the vaccine passports, and they're the ones who are the deplorables in society. But two things can be true at the same time. You can be pro-vaccination, but you can also be anti-movement licenses, because that's what these are. These are movement licenses. You have to get a license just to go to places, grocery store, gyms, restaurants, whatever the case. So, I've been vaccinated, and I'm against vaccine passports.
All right. Well, we love our hard-fought freedom and at Liberty Nation, and we know our viewers do as well. Hope this has been an enlightening discussion for you. Thanks, panel. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul has a tendency to spark controversy, both with conservatives and leftists, and he's at it again. On Sunday, he tweeted a video message telling folks to stand their ground against the pandemic lockdowns that are coming, saying, and I quote, They can't arrest all of us, unquote.
You don't have to accept the
You have to know that is seen as a challenge to the Democrats. The senator called out Speaker Pelosi and Joe Biden for fear-mongering and heavy-handed tactics to keep people in line. Dr. Fauci was mentioned for his unfriendliness to reality and estranged relations with science. Andrew, do you see the lockdowns followed by massive protests dead ahead?
I think that there would only be probably widespread demonstrations if you started forcing people to get vaccinated and going door to door with Joe Biden and Jen Psaki and saying, you gotta take the vaccine. You gotta take the vaccine. But President, that was my Joe Biden impression if I didn't know. But last month,
you didn't say just joking or seriously now.
No, it didn't sound real.
On,
darn, that's my first bad impression. But anyway, they keep shifting the goalposts. All of these, I think that's what frustrating people the most. Just last month, President Biden said that it's all likelihood there would be more public health guidelines and more restrictions, even if hospitalization and deaths remain stagnant, because they're focused solely on the case count, which is absurd at this point. Because you've been vaccinated, then you shouldn't be too concerned. But overall, I think many Americans, they're a lot of them are in financial trouble. They've had a rough 18 months. I don't think a lot of them have the energy to take to the streets like a lot of the progressives, because they have to reopen their businesses, they have to pay, they have to get a paycheck, they have to pay the rent. So no, I don't think, unfortunately, there would be people would take to the streets like the Cubans right now.
Jeff, do you think we're on our way to lockdown 2.0? I mean, it doesn't seem that to me because everybody pushed Trump to do it, but Biden knows it's really going to have massive economic consequences. We'll get to you in a second, Andrew.
Yeah, they won't dare. But first off, Biden said, okay, I'm not going to lock down the country. That doesn't mean much because there's not a whole lot he can do to actually make that happen anyway. This is up to the states in general. And these states are not going to lock down again, especially California. Newsom is about to possibly lose his job. I don't think he's going to go full lockdown. I think New York City is pushing the envelope by requiring these vaccine passports to go to indoor stores. But yeah, I think that we're past lockdowns now. I think there might be people pushing for it, but I think that and I'm going to say Democratic because most Republicans aren't going to consider this anyway. My governor in Texas sure isn't. But in these states, they're going to weigh the cost because if they lock down, they might get some protests. I think they will. And even if they don't, they'll get voted out. So yeah, we're past lockdowns. That's why they're moving on to more of the local vaccine mandates and the mask mandates and all these other authoritarian measures. They can't go with the one that they want to because it just isn't popular.
Jim, we're going to get to you in a sec, but I wanted to go to our economics correspondent. Basically, Andrew, if we do another lockdown, what does that mean for the U.S. economically?
Well, a lot of businesses would obviously shut down. A lot of those people who regain their jobs, especially in the restaurant, in the hospitality and leisure sector, a lot of the restaurant jobs, they'd be out of work. And then they have to look at also the fiscal picture of the United States. How can any government in the United States, federally, locally, or states, how could they afford paying these people to stay home? It would be impossible to do. You already have a rough time getting people to return to the workforce when you have these extra padded federal benefit programs. So the economy and the fiscal picture would be a nightmare. Right, it would be a nightmare scenario. Plus, you also have the holiday season coming up. So a lot of these companies, all these retail stores, they're so desperate to stay open because Christmas time and even the back to school time, as you reported this morning, that's a huge time for the economy to have retail consumption.
Jim, what are the political optics of this kind of thing? If we start going, slowly but surely, like Maryland just was masking up. I live in Virginia. Virginia's still a free state as far as masks are concerned, but what are the political optics for Biden et al. If we're headed for another lockdown?
What scares me the most about this is that I don't think it'll make a huge difference to their political careers. Does anyone remember the Great People's Uprising of 1994 after the federal assault weapons ban?
No.
Yeah, I don't either, and that scares me. Last time I checked, there were somewhere over 600,000 police officers. And assuming that every single one of them enforced unconstitutional laws, that still doesn't hold a torch to the estimated 90 million armed American adults. It's not, can we resist? It's, are we going to, or are we just going to roll over and take it? And historically, we're just going to roll over and take it.
It seems like the people who say that they're pro-science the most and pro-vaccination the most, they seem the ones that they're who are not confident at all in the vaccinations whatsoever. So if you have these public health guidelines, these restrictions, these lockdowns, that suggests that you don't believe in these vaccinations, that they're ineffective. So I think the pro-science, they're the ones who are the real anti-science people.
There might not be an uprising if they try to do lockdowns again, but I do think it will hurt them politically at the ballot box.
All right, before we go, let's go around the horn once. Yes or no? Will there be widespread protests that Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is suggesting if there are going to be lockdowns? Jim, yes or no?
Yeah, I don't know how big they'll be, but here's hoping there'll be something to it.
Andrew?
No.
Sarah?
Just on social media.
Jeff?
No, not widespread. Maybe some pockets, but not widespread.
I actually agree with you all. I don't think Americans, though they've had enough of it, I doubt they're going to hit the streets. Well, that was a fun go-around panel. I'm glad we kept it clean and airable. That doesn't mean we won't be taken off or suspended or given strikes, but we'll do our best. Thanks for watching, guys. The power of an online review is worth more than you thought. Just hit 1 star and see what happens. Business Insider featured a story this week about some sellers on Amazon who are gifting unhappy customers with double the refund. That's if the customer promises to remove their negative review. Sounds like a win-win. No, I don't think so. It seems that some companies who reach out are simply badgering the consumer until the review comes down. It's glaringly obvious that there is a problem here. Basically, because Amazon-generated consumer lists are not supposed to be accessible by third-party sellers. Oops, seems like the big boys are double teaming the consumer. Surprise, surprise. Not to mention that nobody wants to admit it, but everyone uses Amazon. Jeff, do you review a lot?
You know, I don't review a lot. Maybe I should, but I don't. I might give a rating, but I don't take the time to write a review. And this story was intriguing. Like, I also read up about it in the Wall Street Journal. And here's the thing. I know times are hard. It's hard out here, right? Especially if you're a small business owner. And I do believe that businesses should be able to try to give some recompense to an unsatisfied customer. I've had it happen where I go to a restaurant, have a bad experience. The next meal's on them. You know, they'll do that kind of thing. However, you don't badger your customers because they gave you a bad review. First off, they were going outside of Amazon's system. You're only supposed to message your buyer or seller through their system. You're not supposed to go outside of that. But no, these companies actually figured out, in some cases, they figured out the email addresses of somebody who left a 1-star review or a negative review and sent her an email. And even that, okay, that's pushing the line a little bit, but okay, if she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't want to do it. No, they sent her email after email after email, and it happened to multiple people. And you've got these businesses out here harassing people. I don't know how widespread this is realistically, but if the Wall Street Journal wrote it up and if others wrote it up, it's happening. So to me, it just shows how absurd things have gotten, but it also reflects how bad things have gotten in the economy. Like, if this happened maybe 2 years ago, or if there were no coronavirus, no lockdowns, this behavior probably would be minimal. But I think it's the economic woes that are going on right now that are prompting this desperate behavior.
But on the other side, Andrew, don't you think that, the fact that the people are having power again, they write a review, and somebody's paying attention. People don't, they're motivated now. Let's just put it that way. They're motivated now to serve well or do better. Isn't this really good in the long run for the consumer?
Yeah, I'm mixed on this subject. On one hand, I think it's a voluntary exchange between the two consenting parties. If the company wants to refund it to get a better review, that's between those two. On the other hand, I like the review system at Amazon. I like the 5-star ratings. I think it's a great social proofing of these products that you buy. I mean, I buy from Amazon all the time because I have toddlers. So as long as the state doesn't intervene and create new regulations and laws, I don't care what they do. On the other hand, on one point, I think that these companies are violating terms of service. So if Amazon would have a perfectly right to just kick them off the system. Amazon's been trying to perfect this review system for years. I mean, for only recently they introduced a mechanism whereby you actually had to buy the book in order to have a legitimate review posted. Because a lot of people were just, if you go on Fiverr, excuse me, you just pay people a few cents to put a good comment on your book. The review system, it's a work in progress, and it's a fantastic system, but Amazon keeps coming with new ways to ensure that people are having legitimate reviews posted.
Sarah.
Well, heck, I like the idea of legitimate reviews. I think you have to purchase the product and use it and explain if it came the way you ordered it, if it showed up at all. There's a way to do this, and paying people to remove a review, not even give you a good one, but just to remove a poor review, that's not helping any consumer at all. I don't know. I do reviews one way or the other, good, bad, or indifferent, if I buy the product. I don't see how this is helpful in any way, shape, or form.
Jim, couldn't the consumer just say no? Like, I'm not going to take double the refund. I'm not, my review is going to stand because you guys stink.
I mean, I don't see why you couldn't. You might get a little harassment out of it.
I think
you should.
No, you shouldn't be getting harassed. You shouldn't be.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's the story, but I mean, it's not like they can really do anything about it.
No, they get email after email after email, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're killing my business. And
one of the ladies who was getting harassed, I mean, because after she said no, they kept sending her email after email. She reported it to Amazon, and even they drug their feet on this. But eventually, it got to where they shut the whole thing down and kicked the business off. But she shouldn't have had to go through all that just to stop being harassed.
You report to Amazon, but you can also report to the Secretary of State's office. That's who, whatever state the business is registered in, that's who deals with that. But also, I kind of don't care if it hurts their business, because I buy so much stuff on Amazon. I bought everything from books to truck parts. Literally every morning when I start my truck and come to the office, I put my life in the hands of a company on Amazon. I want to know if that product is crap, so it doesn't cost me my life.
I remember writing a few years ago, I ghost wrote an article talking about how everything is fake on the internet. And I was writing about how a lot of these companies that post on Amazon, part of their digital marketing strategy is to find people, let's say on Fiverr, and they pay them to buy the product, and then they give them an extra few bucks. So even the good reviews on the website, you can't really trust them 100%.
No, but they're supposed to say, this reviewer has been given something in kind for a review. They're supposed to acknowledge that.
But how do you know that, though? How can Amazon verify that you've been paid to buy this product?
It's unenforceable.
Yeah, and here's the other thing with this whole review system. Another angle here is that because politics is part of everything now, right? But you remember what happened with the McCloskeys. So what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of these left-wing activists went on Yelp and gave their law firm horrible reviews, 1-star ratings, even though they had never even spoken to these people. And that tanked their ratings in Yelp. Now, I don't know how much that affected their law firm, but if you think about other types of businesses, if you have like a mid to or small business and you say you like Trump, and then the left gets the idea to go in there and say, okay, let's tank his business by giving them these bad reviews. It doesn't matter if they're fake. That could also be another way that they could censor people and to shut them up by attacking their livelihood. I'm actually surprised they haven't thought of it already. Hopefully they're not watching this.
Well, when looking at the voice of the people, would you say that this review process has resulted in liberty lost or liberty gained? Let's go around the horn. Sarah?
A little bit of both.
Oh, that's not an answer. Take a
Okay, I'm sitting on the fence, and I don't care if I get splinters on my butt.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, here's the thing. The rating system is great, and if and if a business doesn't live up to the standards, then yeah, ding it. But when you ding it, and then you're harassed, and you've got people, repeatedly coming after you, who knows where it's going to go to next? I just think it's bad.
Andrew, liberty lost or liberty gained?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Sarah. She's gonna have to pick those splinters from my behind because I'm gonna sit on that same fence because it's a private company. They have the rules. They make the laws. As long as the government doesn't intervene, I don't really care either way.
Jim.
Yeah, I'm going to take Andrew's argument, but I'm going to knock the fence over and say it's not even a liberty issue. It's neither liberty lost nor liberty gained unless the government steps in. Because, I mean, look, liberty is messy. Ultimately, they can harass you all you want, and all you have to do is to continue to tell them to buzz off.
Jeff.
I'm going to go with liberty gained because one aspect of this is that you can also block emails. So I don't know if these people tried that and then they used other emails. I don't, that was never said in the article as far as I read. But I mean, if somebody's harassing you on email, it's very easy to block them and then you don't have to hear them from them again. So they have the right to try to harass you, I suppose, but you have the right to block them and to ignore them and to not pay attention and to go about your everyday life and maybe even give them another bad review. Why not?
But you do know where you can get liberty gained? On libertynation.com.
Absolutely.
Conservative news, we're truth matters.
All right. Well, Mr. Charles, I'm with you. It's liberty gained. All in all, these people are having to listen to us. Technology can't live with it, can't live without it, but it sure does make us angry at times. Thanks, panel. Well, folks, we had so much fun with our own version of the worst case scenario game. We're doing it again. Okay, Frankie, baby, wow the folks with your fancy open. This game allows the panel to choose the best option for survival or sanity. I am now going to call out one by one and ask you to pick a number from 1 to 6. From there, it should be obvious. Ready, guys and gal?
Yes.
Jeff, you're up.
I'm gonna change it up and I'm gonna go with 6.
What?
He swerved.
Always take number 1. We've been talking
Jeff's
about
not
that all
number
week.
1 anymore?
Okay. All right. I haven't read these. So number 6, you live in an alternate universe. Haha, seems like we already do. And it's time to vote in the primary. Who do you pick? Abe Lincoln, Barry Goldwater, Ronald Reagan, or Donald Trump? Wow, this is...
Pick number 1, Jeff.
Yeah, you should have stuck with 1. It's your problem now.
Yeah, well, Goldwater wouldn't be in the running for me. I'd have to go with, oh man. Oh, that's tough.
Okay, let me go over them again. Abe Lincoln, Barry Goldwater, Ronald Reagan, or Donald Trump?
I'm gonna go with Abe. I'm gonna go with Abe Lincoln.
What are you going to talk to him about?
What's his
Wow, this is so much. Wow, I have all kinds of questions.
Where's your red
questions? It's a
your Red Bull and your nicotine? Hello. All right, somebody else chime in to help Jeff out. He's struggling.
Barry Goldwater. That would definitely be a name to.
I would pick Barry Goldwater. He was a personal responsibility kind of guy.
I mean, which one of these people didn't sign sweeping legislation?
Barry Goldwater.
Hindered liberty.
Because he was never president.
He never was president. He never signed anything.
But I mean, you can thank Reagan for some of the gun laws, and you can thank Lincoln for just, exploding the state, just making it huge.
And then Reagan with all the budget deficits and the increased spending.
Yeah, and Goldwater was the one who put a knife in the back of GOP Black Outreach, so I can't co-sign that.
But he favored the Civil
like
Rights Act of
Revolution
1963. What he was against was the 10th provision where private businesses couldn't discriminate against.
Andrew, you should see some of the ads that he ran to try to become president. Not a good look. I'll show you later.
All right, I love this game. For me, it would be Ronald Reagan, not because he was perfect, but because he was damn interesting. All right, next up, Sarah Girl.
Oh boy. 4.
Number. Okay, number 4. Wow, this is a long question. Okay. You've been tagged for a diplomatic mission on nuclear weapons to North Korea. It doesn't...
bad idea.
It doesn't go well. Your entourage includes Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Kamala Harris, and Cory Booker. Kim Jong-un demands one person to stay behind to ensure Biden doesn't accidentally push the button. Who stays? Wait a minute. I want an award for getting through all those names with Kim Jong-un. Okay, so who stays behind?
Who am I leaving behind?
Biden doesn't push the button.
Who am I leaving behind? I don't care about Ilhan Omar because she can never be president. I don't. It's Kamala Harris. I just leave her butt over there.
Why Kamala?
I don't know, because the other ones aren't in a high level position. They probably don't have a shot at ever becoming, the vice president or president of the United States. So, and I don't hate Cory Booker that much.
Cory Booker would be an interesting choice, though. I think what do you guys think?
I would pick Cory Booker.
Yeah.
And the reason why, and here's the reason why, and I don't care if you guys judge me or not. He's dating an actress named Rosario Dawson, who I think is beautiful. She's the most beautiful woman on earth. And I would leave him behind and then shoot my shot with Rosario.
All right. No judgments here. No recriminations on beautiful women. Go ahead, Jim.
So I think this is actually, I get Sarah's point, but I think this is actually the perfect opportunity for some diplomatic bridge building with North Korea. Let's go the extra mile and leave all of them.
That's how they get. But the name, it has to be Kamala Harris, just so I never have to hear that laugh again. I don't have to hear the cackle, the gaggle. Oh my goodness gracious!
God, you're my spirit animal.
She learned it from Hillary.
That's why I call her Black Hillary.
All right, Jim, go ahead. You're next.
Well, let's see. I'm a little disappointed that Jeff ruined our number one joke, so I'll take number one.
You always take the one I want. That's like 2 weeks in a row that you've messed with me. All right, number one. Who would you rather be stuck on a deserted island with? Maxine Waters or Andrew Cuomo?
TikTok.
Oh, man.
TikTok. Cuomo.
Yeah.
Wow.
He'd be easier to drown.
Why not Maxine? She's at least,
Actually, I am going to change my answer.
Or is it, do you want to be kissed by a man?
No. I was going to say, Maxine had that push, she was violent. But I'm actually thinking she would also be. So.
She's over 80 years old, so I don't think you have to cut that out
now. We're gonna have to cut that out now, Frank. Cut that out. I insist.
Okay, we'll just say Maxine Waters would be easier to fight off, most likely.
All right, leave it in and bleep it, Frank. That's what you should do.
But then Maxine Waters can stay behind and do a good James Brown song. So she'd be good entertainment.
Well, she has the hair for it, so actually.
No, but
I don't know. This is like
he does look like James Brown in drag.
This is beginning to be a successful change my mind campaign.
All right. All right. Who goes next? Jeff, have you picked? Yeah, you picked one, right?
Mr. Andrew.
Andrew. All righty, Andrew. So now 1 is out, 4 is out, 6 is out. You've got 2, 3, and 5.
3.
Number 3. You are in a conservative re-education camp. You have an escape plan that can include only one other person on your cell block. Do you enlist Matt Gaetz or Marjorie Taylor Greene for a prison break?
Oh, MT Green, Green for sure, because she does the whole CrossFit. She can beat everybody up, and I can stand behind her and let her do all the work.
What does she do? She does
CrossFit. She does a lot of the exercising, the extreme fitness, like Jeff is doing right now. Jeff is lifting all the weights.
And just wait until she gets her hands on a gun.
Oh, CrossFit. All right. I didn't think about that. That's interesting. All right. What do you guys think? Matt Gaetz or Marjorie Taylor Greene for the prison break?
I don't know. Now that I know that about Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm gonna have her lead the way. I'll back her up.
Yeah, you get her a gun and you're good to go.
All right. That leaves me with 2 and 5. Somebody wants to
2 for Lisa.
2. All right. You're heading to a black tie affair in DC. 2 people have asked you to be their date. Do you pick Jill Biden or Kamala Harris? Wow. Okay. Well, we'll just get over the fact that 2 ladies are asking me for a date. You know, I think I picked Jill Biden because I guess I would like to know, what it's like to take care of the elderly.
And he can whisper sweet nothings in her ear. $1.9 trillion.
I mean, she has such a tight rein on him. And he always seems like she pulls him back just as he's about to fall off the cliff, just about as he fall off the edge.
Between her and his sister, so.
Yeah, so I guess I would pick Jill Biden. Anybody else? How about the guys?
Yeah, Jill Biden.
I go with Kamala. I still think she's hot.
All right. Hot for Kamala, hot for Tulsi Gabbard. And there was one other person you mentioned. I don't even know who. That's the most beautiful woman in the
Rosario
world.
Dawson.
Okay, Rosario Dawson. So that's what you got from us, folks. We hope you played along with us. It's all in good fun. We didn't mean any of it. Don't ban us. We'd love to hear your worst case scenario for politics in the next round of our game show. Thanks for joining us. Pop over to libertynation.com for a little bit of sanity, analysis, the very best of political humor. And remember, we don't take ourselves seriously. Thanks, guys. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, or on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Thanks for tuning in. And remember to surf on over to libertynation.com. Sign up for our member zone, just $29.99 for the year. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank DiOrio, our executive producer, Sarah Cowgill. I'm Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, conservative news where truth matters.